next guest is David Brown. David is here to talk to us more about tourism. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Misty. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. And I always get confused on your title. It's tourism director, is that correct? Or no?
That David, part of Princeton Tourism Commission, that they have, I suppose that I am the Tourism Commission chairman.
Tourism Commission Chairman. I will try to keep that in my head and remember that.
It's okay.
You don't even know your title. How am I supposed to know your title if you don't know your title?
I'm not a title guy. This is not me.
David, we have a couple things to talk about today.
Yeah. We could talk for an hour.
I know. We always could. Where do you want to start?
Well, I can tell you what we've done. I've got an article from the Kentucky Tourism Commission that is phenomenal. I don't know if people know about it. I'm happy to go in either direction. You say.
Well, go ahead and start with that. We have had that on the news this morning.
Yes, I heard it.
I think Audrey even had it on last night, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure she had it on last night. But go ahead, let's talk about that.
Well, it's huge. It's huge because I don't know that people in Kentucky actually think Kentucky as a tourism state.
Right.
We think Florida, Alabama down at Gulf Shores and those type things. But Kentucky is a tourism state. And certainly want to say thank you to, Mrs. Kristen Branscombe. But one of the things that I thought most interesting about this article is, and I've said it on the station, we think of Kentucky as an agricultural state.
Sure.
It, in 2017, produced $5.7 billion for the state of Kentucky. And so all of us would agree we're agriculture. It shocked me to find out that tourism produced in 2017 $9.7 billion in revenue for the state of Kentucky. That's $4 billion with a B more than the agricultural community does. And so that tells me that Kentucky, based on its location, just based on the beauty and all the things that we have to offer, people are starting to know. They're starting to experience. They're starting to tell other people about Kentucky. And so 9.7 billion, Misty, that means with the current state revenues, each Kentucky family, if there were no tourism, would have to pay $1,200 more a year in order to keep the state functioning at the level and the rate that it's functioning now. So when people start talking about, I don't want a restaurant tax, I don't want any of this, nobody's coming to Princeton and so forth and so on, I want you to know that people do come, and we can make their experience that much better with the implementation of this tourism tax, and it's saving us as Kentuckians money because people are coming and spending money, and the local and state governments are capitalizing on that.
Yeah, and so this article even mentions the local impact.
Well, it does. It made mention of the fact that Hopkins County and Caldwell County, I wanted to see. Tourism has created more than 900 jobs in Hopkins and Caldwell County alone. It has generated $113 million in economic impact, average on an annual basis. And some of the article mentioned Nancy Newsom's Old Mill Store and the Pennyroyal Forest Park, for Caldwell and Hopkins County. But think about that, 900 jobs and $113 million. It's huge. It really is. And when you start talking about $9.7 billion being spent in the state of Kentucky, and we have two major thoroughfares that run on each side of our county, we're missing an opportunity to capitalize on those people that are traveling. They're spending their money somewhere. we're grateful when they do here. What can we do to get them off the highway and get them into our community? That's what we're all about.
Okay. So since our time is limited,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and talk about what you're doing, what we're doing to try to get tourism off of those major routes and detoured through Princeton.
Well, the primary push, we've narrowed down what was at one point in time about 50 different projects that we labeled, 1, 2, or 3. Was it something we could do immediately? Was it something that we really wanted to do but couldn't do immediately? Or was it something that we'd like to do and hope to do in the future? We've taken those 50 some odd projects that the community has given us. We've tried to listen. We've tried to be as open about this as we possibly can. We have narrowed it down. We took all of the ones that were rated, this is something that we can do immediately and something that we'd like to do. And basically, what we want to do is make Princeton a better place to live in the immediate future. So we've taken those 50 projects, we've narrowed things down and turned it into 14 projects. And the proposed $300,000 of revenue that the restaurant tax would produce, we've put together a budget, and these 14 projects fit into that budget. And I told you originally I thought 5 to 7 projects the first year. We've got 14. So I mean, I can read some of them. We want to enhance the festivals. We've put together a side committee, if you would, that would bring in and do a couple of other concerts during the warm weather months. There's some park bathrooms, and like the soccer field up at Dotson Park, we're making a commitment to them. We want to plug money into some wayfinding signs that will help people find where some of our current assets are. Walking trails. I didn't know that there's a walking trail out at the City County Park, and it's great. The city guys mow it. It's a phenomenal place. It's right behind the bottom field, and people need to know. We need to point people there. Bike trails. A new field at Youth Incorporated, a huge Big Springs Park upgrade, monthly movies, a Princeton logo, tourism web page, Facebook page, webmaster management, if you would. Of course, advertising and marketing for the things that are occurring in Princeton, and just these things alone, if we can bring in people. For instance, the new park at Youth Incorporated would allow us to have both baseball and softball tournaments for the younger age groups. That alone will give us, we're talking about roughly $80,000 to $100,000 if they have a couple of tournaments at the Youth Incorporated Park. So the community gets paid back for their investment with the restaurant tax. The festivals, to have some group come in or some artist that, and we've asked some of it, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce on that, and bringing in people from the surrounding area to do something that's top notch. So all of those things will bring people to our restaurants, they'll bring them to our town, and people will be able to see Princeton, and I'm certain of the fact they'll start looking to see if Princeton is doing something so that they can come and join us. And I think it's a no-brainer. My last thought, Misty, and I'll shut up and you get these good ladies in here and your good guest, that I'm a minister, and the last thing that I would want to do is saddle someone with something that's not needed, that would be contrary to what I stand for and what I believe. And so I had to search my soul, and is this something that we can grow Princeton, make Princeton better and I can go to sleep at night knowing I haven't betrayed what I stand for.
Let's recap real quick, David. What is the restaurant tax?
The restaurant tax is a 3% tax on 23 different places within the Princeton city limits that serve food. It is proposed to provide almost $300,000 annually to the Tourism Commission, so that the Tourism Commission reinvests that. We do not pay and we don't pad our pockets. We reinvest that into promoting tourism within Princeton and Caldwell County.
Okay, David, I would love to keep talking, but we do have other
know
guests.
we could.
Yeah, I know we could. We'll have you back again, and we'll revisit
Yeah.
as you get more information. And I know this is an ongoing, progressive plan.
We're there.
So
We're there.
You're there.
We're there. We're ready to present. It's
Okay.
just a matter of making certain that things are lined up and that we've got our numbers right. And we'll talk more about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us this
Thank you,
morning,
Misty.
David. I appreciate you coming in as always.
Thank you.
David Brown, Princeton Tourism, and we're gonna get this thing figured out. Figure out how to get the money for Princeton and make Princeton part of the tourism growth. The boom, yes. Thank you, David.